What's up, nerds? Welcome back. As you will notice, I am right now wearing a sleeveless Spider-Man shirt, not because I think it looks good on me, but because it's springtime in South Texas, which means it's hot. So anyway, let's just move on from that. We're going to talk today about another symbiote, because if you watched my last video, you know I just did one about Carnage. Now I'm about to do one about the other guy. Now we're talking about Venom, Lethal Protector #1. Now, if you know your Venom lore, you will know that they've already done a Venom Lethal Protector series in the past, and that one was, pretty popular. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people know it, and I guess they decided, hey, let's keep in the same vein of doing what we always do and taking what worked in the past and just doing it again in the modern age. So that's exactly what we have here, and this it could have been worse. I think that'll be a nice overall view for it, just in case you're wondering. A quick my thought on it. That's what I'll say about it. It could have been worse. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the story itself, because we're going directly into the past as they've been doing with a lot of these books that go into like flashbacks and shit. So that's what we're starting with here. We start out in New York City, of course, with Venom as he's being attacked and saying, "We said leave us alone." And so we see where he's fighting against all of these different people. If you don't recognize these characters, I don't blame you. They're not exactly the most well-known characters. The one with the bow is what was it, Jagged Bow, I think, and then the one with the shield is Death Shield, and then the one back there that looks like a Spider-Man Venom like knockoff is Blood Spider. Basically, they were three different characters who were trained by Taskmaster to fight different Avengers. So obviously, Blood Spider was trained in like Spider-Man's fighting style to fight Spider-Man. Jagged Arrow was trained, with Hawkeye's abilities to fight Hawkeye. And then, can you guess who Death Shield was meant to fight? That's right, Black Widow. No, obviously it was Captain America. That's what we're starting off here. He's fighting against the three of them, and then he does manage to obviously subdue them. He says, "There, that's better. It's what you get for careless stalking, for allowing your shadows to precede you." And he says, "That's why we led you here, where we wouldn't be bothered by Budinskis with badges. But even our patience has limits. Explain yourselves while you still have a tongue." As he has a death shield up against like a wall or whatever, he notices that Jagged Bow is about to like get the shot on him, and he does manage to duck it. He does manage to duck it, and then he has one of his tendrils grab this car and just throw it at him. Which, I mean, yeah, that's the end of that guy, because as far as I know, he doesn't have super durability, so that's pretty much going to be the end of him. Blood Spider and Death Shield manage to run away and shit. That's where Venom does notice and says, "Feh, amateurs, let them go. Besides, senseless violence has always done wonders for our appetite." What? Oh, yes, of course. Dining on carrion would be undignified. After all, we are not an animal. Venom doesn't eat scraps, so this is one of the things right off the bat that I'm going to say, Venom does like eating people's heads. That's kind of one of his things, but apparently we're going for a different type of tack here, obviously, so you could tell by the Lethal Protector name. So he is willing to kill, but apparently not to eat the head. So that's a little bit disappointing. Anyway, we see this guy with, again, this has to be like early 2000s, like at most 2006, 2007, because this dude has his flip phone, which he's recording, Venom on. And he's saying, "Oh man, this is great. Not many perks being a garage attendant, but Channel 9 will pay big to get this. Yeah, I'm sure they will pay a whole lot to get this 144p video off of your phone to, blow it up, put it on the news." But, that's how the world worked back then. But I mean, the clarity on this, it should be much blurrier. So it's saying, news at noon, news break. That's a weird way to put that. News at noon, news break. All right. It says, "This just in. Channel 9 has obtained exclusive footage of the deranged felon called Venom battling a little-known trio of costumed villains, going by the unlikely names of Jagged Bow, Death Shield, and, Blood Spider? The hapless team was no match," and, she goes on or whatever. But we see where someone is watching this, and he's saying, "Team, say there's an idea. One, my little friends, that might solve all of our problems. Ever since Empire State, it says State, but I'm sure that meant to say State. University rescinded my grant I've had to scrap for every dime to continue my research, to convince the world that insects are the key to the future. My theories could provide so many advances: medicine, agriculture, even, dare I say, companionship. Gross. He goes on talking about how, with this new trans species linguatron, he'll be able to communicate, but first he needs money. So he's saying, his efforts to obtain funding have failed so far, and that's why he's in this like rundown little shack or whatever the hell it is. But he says, I don't know why I never thought of this before. Because obviously members of teams get paid, like football and baseball. I don't really know that you can compare sports to, super heroics or even super villainy, but okay, sure, go with that reasoning. So he says, perhaps it's time for Professor Buck Mitty to swallow his pride and seek gainful employment. Time for Humbug to soar again. So that's exactly who we're dealing with here. It is Humbug, and you can see his costume here and all of these different tapes and shit. So you'll see what's about to happen. As you can tell from the way that his costume looks all janky, it's obviously not going to go that well for him, but let's let him live his dream for a minute. Now we go over to this shot of Central Park, and we hear, talking coming from, well, not from any of these people, but it says, no, no, I'm fine. That is, we're fine, aren't we? It's just those three miscreants attacking us. Why? We never asked to be what we are. No one questioned ripping you from your home planet and bringing you to Earth, did they? No one asked how you suffered when the host you chose, Peter Parker, rejected and abandoned you. No one asked me how it felt when that same Parker exposed my headline story in the Daily Globe to be based on a charlatan's lies, destroying my career. Though in retrospect, neither of us thought to question our decision to seek comfort in our shared anger, to become what we are. So if you were wondering, who is Venom? What's the whole deal with him? Why does he hate Spider-Man? They just gave you the quick rundown all right here. How the symbiote got here, why it doesn't, so much have a good opinion of Peter Parker, why he doesn't have a good opinion of Peter Parker, and then, how they're together now. So now you know everything. You're kind of basically filled in, the basics on what you need to know here. So he says, even now, we face foes both good and evil simply because they refuse to understand that all we want to do is protect the innocent. Well, that and kill Spider-Man, of course. Just look at them, happy, safe, like overgrown cherubs, troubled only by their petty decisions of who to mate with and what to watch on TV. Sometimes I envy them. Sometimes I almost wish, and then he hears, screams for help, so he puts the rest of the mask back on and decides to go and, investigate. And so we can see where there's this generic late 1970s, early 1980s punk kid trying to steal a purse from an old lady, which is, I mean, that's about as classic of a setup as you can possibly get. But anyway, she's saying, her rent money is in there, which, okay, Granny, why are you walking around with your rent money in your purse? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. So he does obviously manage to snatch the purse from her, tells her to get creative, that he saw a nice refrigerator crate down on 3rd Street. So, of course, Venom pulls up on the scene and says, young man, your fashion sense is simply appalling. And I mean, he's about to make a whole quip about, the purse doesn't really match with the outfit, which is true. But, I mean, not all of this is bad. Just looking at his actual outfit, I mean, the hobo gloves got to go. The jacket's nice. The hairstyle could work. This hoop earring has to go. The pants are a big no, even if that is your only option. So anyway, he does manage to, take away the purse from him, and then he just, throws him into a tree and shit. So he goes over to the old lady, hands her or is trying to hand her the purse, and says, we hope, this unfortunate incident hasn't upset you. And he was about to say too much, but of course she's terrified of him, so she runs away screaming, help, police, save me and shit. She runs away, and all of the people are just kind of looking at him, taking pictures and shit, and he's like, yes, a thank you would be nice. You know what else would be nice? Some continuity as far as what time period this is. Because this is supposed to be, years ago, and we had the guy who had the flip phone. But if you will see, these people, they very obviously have smartphones. So what are we doing here? What period are we in? Because we went from one to the other and no real explanation. There's not really. I don't get it. What is it we're really doing here? Anyway, we go on from there, and then we see where he just takes off because he's not getting a thanks. It says afternoon slips into twilight, bringing a light autumn rain to the Hudson River docks. And so we go back to, Death Shield and Blood Spider, who are in their little hideout or whatever, as they're looking at, Death Shield is looking at job, the classifieds, whatever it is, where they used to list the jobs in the paper. They don't really, well, maybe they still do that now. I haven't read a newspaper since I was like, I don't know, 10. He sees one for like a pizza delivery boy, but you have to have your own bicycle and it pays minimum wage. So Blood Spider's telling him, well, pal, at this point, I guess it would be a step up. And that's when we see a voice, from off panel as someone walks in, bidding them good evening. So, yes, it is Humbug. And he says, you are the two survivors of this morning's unfortunate debacle with Venom, aren't you? And they're just like, the hell? How did you find us? And he says, quite easily. My little friends are everywhere. And thanks to my trans species Linguatron, they tell me everything. Just one of the enviable advantages of being humbugs. That's where Death Shield's just like, I thought the names Taskmaster gave us were lame. He goes on telling them that, he wields unparalleled power of amplified insect sounds and kind of gives a couple of examples, the piercing shriek of the imbricated snout beetle, the unstoppable roar of the short-nosed cattle louse, and so many others. He goes on and tells them, and luckily for you, I've decided to join your little band. I trust your medical plan includes dental. They just kind of look at him, then they look at each other, and then of course they bust out laughing because they're both broke, and he's expecting them to be able to give him a job and shit. So they go on laughing and tell him, beat it, creep, and take your pet cockroaches with you. So he just leaves in a huff, saying the world has not heard the last of, well, me. Of course, we go back over to Venom, who is now perched on top of the Empire State Building. God, the Statue of Liberty. Geography is sometimes hard, and I guess monuments. But anyway, he's up on top of the torch and shit. It says, thus does evening deepen into night. Rain turns to drizzle, as on Liberty Island, troubled thoughts turn to the past. He's looking down at the city saying, it's beautiful, isn't it? People give New York a bad rap, but everyone still wants to live here. I don't know about everyone. And he says, you used to be my turf, My turf, my people. Had a good job, friends, the respect of my peers. Had a wife, too, even a dog. So what do I have now? Losers attacking me for no reason? Living in subway tunnels and buildings scheduled for demolition? Plus the open wound of knowing that web-slinging betrayer is free to enjoy all the things that have been taken from me? So he's just looking at the symbiote saying, no comments? No advice? What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? I shudder to think what would happen to that cat. And then he figures out, he's like, oh, okay. Jealous because I'm saying me instead of we. And he's saying, basically, is it my fault that I had a life that I still sometimes remember, even though, now I have the symbiote? And he says, so why don't you try it? Tell me about your home world. What did you do for fun? Did you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, parakeet? And then it just doesn't do anything. So he says, oh, okay, keeping it all to yourself? All right. He says, have it your way then. As for me, I need someone else to talk to. Can't go around talking to myself, can I? That would be crazy. So he uses a helicopter that just happens to be flying by to get him off of that particular perch. As the people inside are saying, what was that? And the other one tells him, it's just an updraft, Earl. Don't be such a wuss. He leaves from there and says, and soon at a well-kept townhouse near New York's Gramercy Park, we see where there's singing coming from inside this particular townhouse. And he walks in saying, hey, babe. So she looks over very confused and startled saying, Eddie, how did you... He says, you always were too trusting, Annie. How many times did I tell you to lock the doors? She's like, but the police, you shouldn't be here. So he says, no, this is exactly where I should be. If I hadn't gone off the deep end and made your life as miserable as my own, we had some good times, Annie, didn't we? Remember? She says, yeah, some of the best. And, I do miss them too. But here's the thing that you're not understanding. We can't go back to that. Things are changed. You've changed. And then she's trying to tell him, I'm basically in a new relationship. But then that's immediately sold to us when there's a voice coming from outside in the hall saying, yo, Ann, cab's here. You ready? So she says, just about, Alan. I'll be right down. And then when she turns around, Eddie's already gone. So Alan walks in, says, come on, hun, meter's running. I even grabbed an umbrella so you won't get that $1 million hairdo wet. So she just says, that's sweet of you and all that shit. You win the gold for thoughtfulness. He says, of course. Isn't that what a fiance is for? Which, as you can see from Eddie's face right here, was not what he wanted to hear. And he kind of proves it by doing the whole fiance, like that whole thing as he has the mask come back again. And he kind of freaks out and shit. So, of course, he flies directly into a rage, talking about how they want to devour his brain, suck out his marrow, pluck his eyes for garnish, and savor them with a nice Chianti. And he says, well, no, we won't, because that would hurt her. So he just watches her get in the cab and drive away. Now, it goes into morning, where it says, morning returns, bringing with it a rain-washed sparkle to the Long Island complex of Kellner Scientific Innovations. So we hear a voice coming from or not here, we see a voice coming from inside. It says, that's right, Mr. Drake. Progress has proceeded beyond our most conservative projections. The technical staff has completed the refining mechanism, and my metagenic formula is undergoing final animal tests as we speak. So he just says, just make sure you don't proceed too quickly. Should you fail, the Life Foundation would be most displeased. And our board of directors is always looking for new volunteers for its human testing division. So she's like, no, it's fine. Everything's going to be just fine. I have, control of this. We go over to Manhattan where it says 443, and we keep seeing more and more counting as we go into Battery Park, and then we go below Battery Park because that's where Eddie Brock happens to be right now, and he's lifting these gigantic weights, which, I mean, hey, props to him. He's doing so damn good that he ends up, snapping the bar in half, which with all of that weight seems about right. But anyway, he says, no good. Working out used to calm us, ease our stress. Now, not so much. And then I guess the symbiote has a suggestion. So he says, find Spider-Man and rend him limb from limb. Brilliant. The perfect soothing balm. Maybe we can even go for ice cream after. Well, isn't that lovely? It says, and so a short walk north. He says Chinatown is as good a place to start as any, though it does seem unusually crowded today. And that's when, this hobo kind of like tugs on the what do you call those? Pant sleeves? What do you call pants? Like the legging of the pant. Whatever the hell it is, tugs on his clothes. That's much easier. So he says, spare change, mister? I ain't eaten in 2 days. And he's just like, well, that's your problem. So he's saying, I have more important shit to do. And then all of a sudden he's like, all right, yeah, that was uncalled for. The old man is probably just a victim of government meddling or corporate chicanery, as innocent as you or me. So he sees this jewelry store right next to him, and he just breaks the window, grabs a whole bunch of like the jewelry and shit, goes back to the guy, and he's like, we were rude. We apologize. Here, buy yourself a sandwich, and just throws them all the jewelry. And these cops, who happen to be conveniently located, just stroll right over and like, yeah, you're coming with us. Even though if they were right there, they probably saw Eddie do it. But they're just like, no, yeah, we'll take the guy who happens to have the jewelry right now. He's walking away saying, I agree, no matter how great our anger, how deep our disappointment, it always lightens the heart to do something good for the less fortunate. So yeah, like I said, that's where they're leading him away. And he's just like, but he keeps going, walking down this alley as he says, I ran down a lot of leads around here when I was a reporter. This alley should take us straight to the main, and then he walks right into like a Chinese parade or whatever, saying, whoa, have to admit, when New York celebrates, they do it right. Dragons, ghosts, even Yao Jing, but what's that guy made up to be? Doesn't look like he's celebrating. Almost looks as though he's about to, and then yeah, he does end up attacking him. So it is Humbug who somehow just managed to find Eddie here and decides, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and attack him, even though he's not, all done up as Venom right now. So he does that whole attack, which he does avoid, and then he says, you're fast. Not many could evade the shattering cry of the cowpea weevil. Just one of the many weapons wielded by humbugs. He's like, oh, please, not another one. So he says, what do you losers do? Share notes? How'd you even find us? So he tells them, again, the bugs are everywhere. Nothing can hide from them or me. So he says, partners, cockroaches talk to you? That's weird, but tasty, as he eats one of them. And then, of course, he gets blasted by Humbug, who gets, obviously pissed off that he ate one of the bugs. He notices that the symbiote is trembling because of, he just used basically Sonics on him. He says, like trying to walk on ice after a pitcher of margaritas. And then Humbug tells him, now perhaps you'll show more respect for the disorienting growl of the wheat stem sawfly. He's like, what I'll show is how to web up a third-rate B-movie reject. And then he just completely misses. And then he uses his powers on both of his hands. So he says, not if the seething roar of the blood-sucking cone nose has anything to say about it. So he notices his web launchers are dissolving. And then he's like, oh, of course, sound. Fire and sound are the only things that hurt us, in case you didn't already know that. He says, and the varied sounds Humbug generates must be causing unpredictable reactions. I'd say that's a pretty safe bet. He says, but Eddie Brock still has a brain and the body of an Olympian. Now that I will give him credit on. He definitely does have the body even without the symbiote. So there is that. But he says those are all we need to squash an annoying little bug like, well, he was going to say you, but he takes a full-on blast, like just head on, which, as you can imagine, completely just dissipates the entire, symbiote and shit, and causing him to just womp down on the sidewalk just like this. And he's still, basically in his workout, outfit. I guess you don't really need to worry about wearing clothes when you have a full body symbiote. But anyway, he's saying, my other limp, cold, can't hear it, can't feel it, it's gone. As Humbug is about to really like declare victory, that's when the cops all of a sudden showed up. And that's what he says, should have figured the boys in blue would show up by now. No matter, I've made my point. The mighty Venom has even run away. And yeah, we can see where he's left. He even left his slide right there. So he took off running and shit. And Humbug decides, yeah, I better do the same, because that's not a bad idea. We catch up with Eddie as he's like kind of sulking here in the alley, saying it's hard to grasp, to accept. After so long as us, I'm not sure how to feel. Last time I was alone, you gave me purpose, focus, literally a reason to live. With you, I had passion to repay those who prey on the innocent, as we ourselves were once innocent. Now without you, I have nothing. Now without you, I am nothing. And that's it says, in Chinatown, the noise of celebration slowly returns, a sharp contrast to the silence in Eddie Brock's soul. While on the nearby river docks, there's a voice saying inside, and of course, yes, this is the those guys' hideout from earlier. It says, "Hey, Michael, check this out." And it's he's walking in saying that goofball with the roach fetish is legit. He actually took down Venom. So he's just there like, holy shit, you serious? And he says, maybe we could use him after all. I mean, we were going to split the take 3 ways anyway. Yeah, Jagibo's not around anymore, so you don't really have to worry about that, now do you? So he says, yeah, that's true, but a half each is still better than a third. Guess it all depends on how we use him. And they start coming up with a plan, obviously. It says, while on Long Island, at Kellner Scientific Innovations, other would-be users conspire. So that's where she's saying, that's right, Mr. Drake. The finished formula meets parameters in every test. He was like, all right, good. But we must be certain. After all, there's no way to pre-test the formula on its actual target. She says, yeah, that's true, but I have every confidence that the final phase will be successful. I bet my life on it. He's like, yeah, you already have. So she says, don't worry. You have my personal assurance that within 48 hours, Venom will be yours to command. And that's where we leave off on this for right now. So that is the first issue of Venom Lethal Protector. And like I said, it could have been worse. Was it great? No. I don't even know if I would call it so much good, but it was okay. It was all right. You know what I mean? They didn't reinvent the wheel, not that they necessarily have to. There was a few times in here that we had action, but I mean, him losing to Humbug, I don't really know that was the way to go on the first issue as far as trying to hook people into the story. Seems a little bit lame. I think that's the best way I can think of to describe it. It's a little bit lame that's how we start out here. But hey, as I always say, there's still potential for it to get better. Like I said, it wasn't bad. I wouldn't describe it as bad. I wouldn't really describe it as good either, though. It's just kind of like in a gray area at the moment as far as first issues go. It's in a gray area where it could actually see itself get better, or it could go directly the other way. So I don't really know. You know me, I'm a fan of like the symbiotes and shit, Carnage and Venom, all of that. So I will more than likely check out at least the next issue. I don't really know how long this particular series is going to run. We'll have to find out or whatever. But I mean, as far as, characters go, they could have picked a worse character to do. I just don't understand, again, I understand why. They keep doing this thing of like bringing back things that worked back in the day. So like I said, Venom Lethal Protector is something that has already been around, and they decided, hey, let's see if we can get it going again and see if we can get people to like this one too. So I don't know. Time will tell if they actually succeed in that. I don't really have the highest, hopes, especially after this particular first issue. But hey, I've been proven wrong before, so we'll see what ends up happening with that. But I think that's going to do it for me on this review. So if you've read this, if you have any thoughts on it, you know what to do. Share your thoughts with me down below in the comments section. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like the video, you're subscribed, and you have the notification bell on, all of that fun stuff. And if you'd like to share the video, I do appreciate you for doing so. So feel free to do that as well. And another thing, I decided I'm going to go ahead and try to remember to do this whenever I can. And I will start putting in, just little recommendations for in case you want to check something else out. So here's one recommendation for you. If you'd like to check out something coming from an indie creator, go and check out Roach Balls, which is on Indiegogo right now. It is funding. It is by the man Rich Ayala. And the main reason why I'm promoting that one is because we had roaches in this particular issue. So why not go ahead and tie it all together by talking about Roach Balls? So go ahead and check that out. I will put a link for it down below in the description. Go and check that out if you like it. If it looks interesting to you, make sure to back it. If you can't back it right now, share it out on social media. Talk about it with people that you know. Get more traction, more momentum going for it. I would definitely appreciate that. And I know Rich would too. So make sure you go and do that. But anyway, if you're done here, go and read a book. And if not, then I'll see you on my next video.